Reviewing the placed conduits. To review the conduits that you've placed and look at the physical properties of it and also the hydraulic properties of it, let's go ahead and select one of those. And once you get to that dynamic toolbar, you're going to have four different options. First one is the properties of it, which of course are the physical properties of it. Second one is where you can open up a profile model. Third one is the utility properties of it, which will be the hydraulic properties of that conduit. And of course, the last one is to delete a conduit if you wish to delete it. So if I go ahead and select on that first one that says properties, you're going to see all the properties of that particular conduit. Of course, the stuff that's in black and white or stuff that you could change inside of here if you wish to do that. The stuff that's grayed out is basically just information that you can see, but you can't do any changes to it because, of course, it's grayed out. So you can kind of go through here and review the physical properties of it to see what the start invert is, what the stop invert is, where it's starting from, where the stop node is, stuff like that where you can come through here and you can review that. Of course, the stuff like that's in black and white is stuff that you could change. So I guess physically you can come in here and change the description of it. Instead of it being a 12-inch pipe, maybe it needs to be a 15-inch pipe. This is where you can come in here and change that. Or maybe I want the feature name to be something different. This is where you can come through here and rename it. So this is the physical properties of that conduit that you selected. The next one that I will go over is the utility properties of it, which of course underneath the drainage tab will give all the hydraulic aspects of that particular conduit. A few things worth noting inside of here that you may want to review or possibly change. The first one right here is the node reversal. This allows us to reverse that conduit if I placed it incorrectly. Because of course, whenever you place that conduit, you want to go in the direction of flow of how you think the water is going to flow through that particular network. So if you accidentally select it from the flared end section up to this inlet, it thinks the water should be going in this direction. So if that's the case, instead of deleting it and redrawing it, which is perfectly fine, or you can come in here and do this node reversal and you can actually reverse that conduit. So that's one thing you may want to double check just in case your network's not running quite correctly. Another one that you may want to review is this one right here for your design, for designing the conduit, the start and stop inverts and so forth. Right now these are set to true, so whenever you go through there and do a design scenario, it's going to go through there and possibly change the start invert, the stop invert, the size of the pipe, depending on what your default design constraints are. It'll actually go through there and change the sizes of those. If for some reason you don't want that to change in a design scenario situation, you can come in here and actually change that design conduit to false. And whenever you do a design scenario to compute your network, no matter what it does, it's going to keep it that size of how you originally placed it. So that's just some things that you may want to look at for your particular project. The other one to pay attention to is this one right here where it says is culvert. By default, whenever you place those conduits, it's going to be set to false. So it's going to treat that conduit in a stormwater drainage network situation. Now, if that particular conduit is a culvert, like a culvert going underneath the road or a pipe going underneath of a road, then you'd probably come in here and change that is culvert from false, change that to true, and now you're going to see some different aspects of that. So it's going to treat that a little bit differently on how that water is being flown through that particular conduit. So that's something that you may want to be aware of if you're doing a culvert situation versus a stormwater drainage network situation for that particular conduit. And of course, you come through here and make these changes as needed, depending on if you want to use the conduit or if you want to use the start and stop node to figure out your culvert head wall and culvert end wall situations for your KE and KR values. So let me go ahead and change that back to false because we don't have that in this particular situation. And there's a few other things that you may want to review inside of here too. You can see what the physical properties of that particular conduit is and so forth. Of course, you could change it inside of here too. You can see the results of it. It's not going to show up anything right now because we haven't actually computed the network yet. But these are all the hydraulic aspects of that particular conduit that you placed. So those are the basics of reviewing a conduit out there for its physical properties and also the hydraulic properties of it and possibly things that you may want to look at and change if needed.